Most people think a multivitamin is the safest health decision you can make. A tiny tablet, a little insurance, something responsible. But for a lot of adults over 40, the modern multivitamin has quietly become the nutritional version of pouring every fluid you can find into your car's engine and assuming the extra will somehow help. The label looks clean. The promise feels harmless. And the damage, when it happens, doesn't announce itself. It blends in with getting older. After 40, the body's tolerance window gets narrower. Not because you suddenly become fragile, but because the systems that handle chemical traffic get less forgiving. Not because vitamins are evil, and not because you can't benefit from nutrition. Your liver becomes less interested in processing unnecessary compounds. Your kidneys become less patient with extra minerals they have to filter and dump. Your nervous system becomes more reactive to small imbalances. And for many people, the medication load increases, which means your body is already running a busy chemical airport before you add a daily tablet full of new passengers. Here's the part that changes everything. When you're younger, your body can absorb mistakes and recover quickly. When you're older, the same small mistake becomes cumulative. It's like walking across a carpet sprinkled with sand. The first few steps feel fine. After a year, you start wondering why your shoes feel wrong. After 5 years, you blame the floor. And after 10 years, you're convinced it's just age. That's why multivitamins become tricky later in life. It's because the multivitamin industry sells comfort, while your biology demands precision. And comfort is exactly where people get misled. The first multivitamin trap is the one that sounds the most wholesome, the high-potency formula. You'll see words like mega maximum strength or 1000% daily value printed as if more is automatically better. It feels like buying a stronger flashlight. Same tool, brighter result. But nutrients don't work like light bulbs. They work like gears. When you force a gear to spin faster than the rest of the machine can handle, you don't get better performance. You get friction. Take vitamin B6, often listed as pyridoxine hydrochloride. It's common to see it at 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams, sometimes higher. And because it's a B vitamin, people assume it's harmless. Water-soluble. You'll just pee it out. That belief collapses after 40. Because the nervous system becomes less tolerant to chronic oversupply. The issue isn't one tablet. The issue is daily exposure over months and years. Vitamin B6 can build a slow, invisible kind of irritation in nerve tissue. Not in a dramatic, instant way. In a why do my hands feel weird way. In a my balance feels off lately way. The problem is nobody connects that to a multivitamin because the symptoms sound like aging. This is the quiet trick. The label makes it feel like nutrition. The body experiences it like a chemical stressor. The second trap is the multivitamin that boasts about being iron-rich, especially in formulas marketed as complete or energy support. Iron sounds responsible. People associate it with strength and oxygen. And for some groups, iron can be appropriate. But multivitamins often include iron as a default, not a targeted choice. The most common form is ferrous fumarate or ferrous sulfate. And the body doesn't treat iron like a casual nutrient. Iron is reactive. It's not just a building block. It's a spark. Think of iron like storing gasoline in your garage. In the right container, used correctly, it's useful. Left in excess, it becomes a constant risk. Iron participates in oxidation reactions that generate free radicals. And after 40, when inflammation is already higher and antioxidant defenses are often lower, extra iron can quietly increase oxidative load. Here's where regulation quietly stops. The label can treat iron like a simple percentage of daily value. It doesn't have to explain whether you actually need it, whether your ferritin is already high, or whether you're the kind of person who accumulates it more easily. It just sits there, disguised as completeness. Over years, that matters, because oxidation is not a crisis. It's wear. It's like leaving metal outside in the rain. You don't notice it in week 1. You notice it when the hinge starts to squeak. The third trap is a multivitamin that claims bone support and loads up on calcium. Calcium feels safe. It's the mineral everyone knows. And the marketing story is simple. More calcium equals stronger bones. But calcium is one of the most misunderstood nutrients on a label, especially after 40. The issue isn't that calcium is bad. The issue is that calcium is not a bone-only mineral. It's an electrical mineral. It affects muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and vascular behavior. Most multivitamins use calcium carbonate because it's cheap and stable. But calcium carbonate requires adequate stomach acid to dissolve properly. And after 40, many people have lower stomach acid naturally, or they take acid-reducing medications. That means you can swallow calcium carbonate daily and absorb less than you think while still stressing the digestive system. And here's the part labels never explain. Calcium doesn't just go to bones. It goes where the body allows it to go. And if vitamin K2 is missing or magnesium is low, calcium handling becomes less coordinated. It's like sending bricks to a construction site with no foreman. Some get used correctly. Some end up piled in the wrong place. The long-term consequence isn't something you feel tomorrow. It's a slow misallocation problem. A gradual shift in how the body manages mineral traffic. And that's the kind of issue that gets blamed on aging, not on a healthy multivitamin. The fourth trap is the multivitamin that sounds heart-smart because it contains vitamin E. Vitamin E has a reputation. It's the antioxidant vitamin. It sounds like rust protection for your cells. And you'll often see it in a clean, confident number, like 100% or 200% daily value. But the detail that matters is the form. Most multivitamins use D-L-alpha tocopherol, which is the synthetic form. And the synthetic form behaves differently than the natural mixed tocopherols found in food. It's not the same chemical message. This is where the marketing story is smoother than biology. The label treats vitamin E as one thing. Your body treats it as a family of compounds with different roles. When you oversupply one form repeatedly, you can crowd out others. You can shift the antioxidant balance in a way that looks logical on paper and messy in real tissue. It's like hiring one type of security guard for every job in a building. They're not useless. They're just not designed to cover everything. And when you rely on the wrong kind too heavily, the gaps get bigger, not smaller. The fifth trap is the multivitamin that advertises immune support and pushes zinc. Zinc is everywhere now. It's in multivitamins, lozenges, immune gummies, and seasonal defense blends. It feels like a modern essential. The common forms are zinc oxide and zinc sulfate. And zinc is one of those minerals where the dose feels small, but the ripple effects can be large. Zinc competes with copper absorption in the gut. That means chronic high zinc intake can gradually push copper down. Copper isn't trendy. It's not marketed as heroic, but it's critical for enzymes that manage connective tissue, energy metabolism, and antioxidant systems. After 40, when your body is already doing more repair work and less rapid rebuilding, mineral competition becomes more important. This is a perfect example of the multivitamin illusion. The label shows zinc as a benefit. It does not show the trade-off. It doesn't show the invisible tug-of-war happening in your intestines every morning. It's like reading a budget that lists your income but never mentions your bills. And because the shift is slow, people don't connect it to the supplement. They connect it to stress, sleep, or just getting older. The sixth trap is the multivitamin that proudly says it contains folate, and people assume it's automatically the safer, smarter choice. Folate is associated with heart health, brain health, and healthy aging, and many people are told they should take it. But the form matters more than the word. A lot of multivitamins still use folic acid, not methylfolate. Folic acid is a synthetic form that requires conversion in the body, and the conversion process is not equally efficient in everyone, especially with age and genetic variation. Here's the mechanical analogy. Folic acid is like a raw ingredient that has to be processed in a factory before it becomes usable. If the factory is slow, overwhelmed, or not built for high volume, the raw material piles up. The label doesn't mention the factory. It only mentions the delivery. After 40, when liver function changes and overall metabolic flexibility narrows, relying on heavy synthetic conversion can become a hidden burden. This isn't about panic. It's about workload. It's about how many chemical steps your body has to perform every day to make a supplement behave like food. And this is where people get misled by the word essential. Essential doesn't mean safe in any form, in any amount, for any person, forever. Essential means you need a biologically appropriate version in a biologically appropriate context. The seventh trap is the one that feels the most natural, and it's why so many smart people get fooled. The multivitamin that calls itself whole food, plant-based, or natural. This is the quietest trap because it hijacks trust. People think it means the nutrients are coming from real food sources, like powdered kale or acerola cherry. Sometimes small amounts are included, but the vitamins themselves are still often standard isolated compounds, added separately, because that's how you hit exact percentages. The label language can legally imply a food-like identity while still delivering a lab-constructed vitamin profile. It's like putting a wooden steering wheel on a plastic car and calling it handcrafted. And here's the regulatory gap. Supplement labels do not have to prove that a whole food claim changes absorption, changes tissue behavior, or changes long-term outcomes. They only have to list ingredients. They can use terms like food-based without explaining how much of the actual vitamin content comes from food versus added isolates. For adults over 40, this matters because digestion and absorption are not static. The gut lining changes. The microbiome changes. bile flow changes, and the body becomes less tolerant of unnecessary binders, fillers, and poorly absorbed mineral forms. Many multivitamins include magnesium oxide, for example, because it's compact and cheap. Magnesium oxide is notorious for poor absorption. It looks impressive on a label, but it's often the nutritional equivalent of handing someone a paycheck written in a language they can't read. And when the magnesium doesn't absorb, the body doesn't just miss out. It compensates. It shifts. It borrows from other systems. Over time, the imbalance becomes subtle fatigue, muscle tightness, sleep changes, or stress sensitivity that gets blamed on life, not on the daily pill. This is the slow accumulation item most people never consider. Not a single toxic event, not a dramatic reaction, just a decade of tiny inefficiencies, tiny chemical debts, tiny metabolic detours. And this is the part that should make you pause, because it's the part labels never explain. A multivitamin is not one thing. It's a daily chemical bundle. It contains competing minerals, synthetic vitamin forms, stabilizers, and percentages that were designed for marketing symmetry, not for your aging biology. The reason it feels safe is because it's familiar. It's been normalized as a responsible habit. But the truth is, the older you get, the more generic becomes a liability. After 40, the body is less interested in abundance and more interested in accuracy. Your liver doesn't reward you for swallowing extra compounds. Your kidneys don't congratulate you for filtering minerals you didn't need. Your nervous system doesn't care that something is labeled a vitamin if it changes signaling chemistry. So what do you do instead without turning nutrition into paranoia or a full-time job? Start by treating the ingredient form as the real product, not the percentage. If you see pyridoxine hydrochloride, folic acid, D-L-alpha tocopherol, magnesium oxide, calcium carbonate, or zinc oxide, understand what you're actually buying. A cheaper, more industrial version designed to survive manufacturing and look good on paper. Next, stop trusting marketing words that have no biological enforcement. Natural, whole food, immune support, energy, and complete are storytelling terms. They are not proof of absorption, proof of balance, or proof of long-term compatibility with an older body. And finally, reduce workload instead of chasing coverage. The smartest nutrition strategy after 40 isn't adding more. It's removing unnecessary chemical traffic so your body can do its real jobs better. That means fewer overlapping supplements, fewer high-potency blends, and fewer daily compounds you can't justify beyond it seems healthy. Multivitamins are sold as nutritional insurance, but for many adults over 40, the real upgrade is learning to read them as industrial chemistry in a wellness costume.